Good morning. It is a true pleasure to join you here and talk about and focus on a topic that is an absolute passion of mine and one that I believe is essential to the future of commerce. And I can't think of a better place than the UAE to have this conversation. Every time I'm here, I'm reminded of a quote from a Canadian author, William Gibson, who once said, "The future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed." And when you look around Dubai, and much of the Gulf for that matter, you can't help but thinking that a lot more of that future has arrived here, and rather early on, in fact. It's also great to connect Brett's presentation, focused on financial services, and Jim's presentation on what we can do to enable commerce and help merchants. Because, as you'll see as we go through this, connecting is at the heart of what we do at MasterCard. It's part of our core. If you think of it, it's even symbolized in our logo. And it is always about how we all work together to drive value for the end user. So let's simply start with the next slide. So let's simply start with what's going on. Simply put, with the video you just saw, we're beginning to see an outline of a world in which digital natives will increasingly feel at home and which generations yet to come will take for granted. I honor Brett's example. When my daughter sends a text, which I can assure you is not an infrequent occurrence, to her, she's not using technology. It's just the way you communicate. And the very concept of a stamp is completely baffling to her. So what I really think we're seeing is we're in the midst of a broad platform change as consumers are moving from offline physical interactions in the branch, in the store, in everything we do, to intelligent connected devices. And we're seeing this as changing how we learn, how we get information, how we entertain ourselves, and I believe most importantly, how we connect. How we connect to our family, to our friends, how we connect to our governments, and to our community. And these changes in how we interact are also fundamentally changing how we will transact. And while the smartphone is transformative in this convergence, because for the first time, you can always be online, and being online is always with you, I believe the future is about all of the devices, spanning from smart cards to simple mobile handsets, to that smartphone. But it's your PC, it's your smart TV, it's your tablet, it's your game system, and now even wearables like my PayPass watch or glasses in the future, and even the mundane devices like refrigerators or thermostats are now getting connected. And as they get connected, every one of these devices will be a commerce device. Simply put, the distinctions we may have had around what's m-commerce or e-commerce, they simply don't matter. What we're talking about is digital commerce and making sure that every one of these devices can be used as a safe, secure commerce device. And let me stop for a second, because up till now, I've been talking a lot about the gear, the individual equipment. And while the devices are providing many new capabilities and much greater access and connectivity, that's not the story. That could never be the story. We've already seen it's about how people are using these devices. You've seen this in your own life as your various devices are used for different purposes. You'll use your PC at work or at home for content creation. You use tablets and smart TVs and gaming devices for entertainment. And you'll use that mobile for connectivity, communication, and instant of information. So the payment, the transaction is now happening anywhere. It'll happen at home. It'll happen at work. It'll happen at the register in the store. It'll happen in the aisle and everywhere in between. So as we take a look today at the bits of the future that are already here, it is essential to always remind ourselves it's not about the gear, the specific device. And in fact, particularly at shows like this, that's often the easiest thing to get caught up in. Rather, it is about how we can use these new capabilities to give the consumers we serve today richer, more secure, more convenient shopping experiences, and perhaps even more importantly, bring the benefits of financial inclusion to billions of consumers that we simply could not reach easily before. From our perspective, from a MasterCard perspective, it's about that moment of truth for the consumer, when the thing you want to do has happened, when the transaction enables it, and the experience that surrounds it. Everything we can now do before that transaction to give you more information about your account balance, or rewards, or offers, or feedback about your shopping experience. During that transaction, tailoring the experience to the precise device, moment, and type of interaction that's best for that consumer. And after the transaction, to get personalized feedback on what's most important to me. So with all of these new options, there's simply one question we keep asking ourselves. How can we bring all of this together and make it as simple as possible for merchants, for consumers, for financial institutions to take maximum advantage of this digital transition to deliver those richer, safer, better shopping experiences? And the good news is, consumers have already told us precisely what they want. They want all of this connected. And as I said earlier, connecting is at the heart of what MasterCard does. Connecting the consumer to the right financial account or service for them, ranging from the most sophisticated credit products for the affluent to access to government benefits and pensions for the most needy. Using cards and EMV technology to provide secure access to over 35 million merchants and ATMs worldwide, and seamlessly connecting all of the consumer's devices to deliver better digital experiences. So that's also why we've recently introduced MasterPass, which is our digital acceptance mark and wallet platform, providing a secure foundation for not only a world beyond cash and checks, but also for a world beyond plastic. Think of MasterPass as the digital equivalent of the mark on the lower right-hand side of the plastic cards, specifically designed to get consumers safely and securely to their digital wallet, but most importantly, in doing so, to enhance, not interfere with the relationships our partners, our financial partners have with their customers. So how does this all come together? Getting the consumer the right account, giving the right experience for every shopping context. And I thought the best way to talk about this was to give you some very specific examples. As I said earlier, it's about getting the consumer the right account, the right capabilities that I can then use anywhere with MasterCard or now MasterPass. And the heart of innovation, in my mind, is to use technology to create something that is exactly right for that consumer. And I must say, one of my favorite examples in the world is right here in Dubai. Al Hilal Bank here is a customer of ours, and they came to us with a challenge. They asked how we could use innovation and differentiation and technology to help them stand out by launching a Sharia-compliant solution for their customers. Working with Al Hilal and technology partners, what we developed was a first-of-a-kind account and a card. As mentioned, it's designed to be fully Sharia compliant and has been approved by Sharia scholars. This account has many unique benefits. It simply does not allow transactions that are non-compliant. And a small portion of each purchase goes to almsgiving to support locals' community in accordance with the tenets of zakat. So for one example, a consumer can opt out for rounding off local retail transactions to the nearest 5, 10, or 100 dharmas and credit that rounded up sum to the Red Crescent or other charitable organizations. This account, this card, also includes travel benefits during Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca, a priceless moment in many of these cardholders' lives, and where a majority of the spending today is still in cash. And there's one more really innovative part that significantly differentiates the card. The card itself, the physical card, includes a digital compass, where at the press of the button, it'll automatically show the direction of Mecca for daily prayer. That same card allows the cardholder to use all of those capabilities we've just talked about in the account in any environment. In a physical store that accepts MasterCard today, online, on mobile, from your tablet, wherever, whenever, anywhere, while still adhering to the principles that the cardholder holds dear. At a much more basic level, this card, this account, helps the consumer demonstrate their piety while enabling experiences that are uniquely tailored to their lives. So it starts with getting the consumer enabled for the right account, the right product that's best for them. But then the question becomes, having that, what are the best ways that I can use it? What are all the new shopping experiences I can get from my MasterCard account? So one other example. Say I want to buy a cup of coffee right here in Dubai. And one of my favorite shops when I come to Dubai is Costa Coffee. So let's take a look at how I can take the experiences from the account and enable it on my mobile device. Just switch over here. We can switch over. Can we switch to the, there we go. So when I go into Costa Coffee, I can order my typical large cappuccino with the extra shot. And because I'm using a smartphone that's enabled for NFC payments, I can pay for my coffee and just tap and go with my mobile phone. And I'm off with my coffee in hand. So it's providing the consumer the access they want to all of the systems that work with this card today, and allowing me to take maximum advantage of the capabilities that are in my new device. And it's not just Costa Coffee. Right here in Dubai, I can use it at McDonald's, Burger King, Chili's, Noodle House, and others. We've seen markets like Canada, where in coffee shops, over half of their transactions are now contactless, because the speed and convenience of tap and go to pay for that coffee, as I bring it back up, tap and go to pay for that coffee is far superior than what I could deliver from the card. And merchants have told us, if you've ever been in that queue in your coffee shop, using contactless technology, they can get 20 to 40% faster time through queue. And the best part is, using MasterCard PayPass, not only do I get the speed and convenience, this is an EMV secured contactless transaction. In essence, we've taken the chips off of the card and are using the chips in the handset to deliver the same security, the same consumer experience. Again, enabling a bring your own device issuing. But let's not stop there. So I could use my handset now to make that tap and go payment. Well, like the rest of you, after I get the coffee, maybe I want to go shopping online. Not using the NFC payment capabilities in the handset, but the connectivity in the browser that's in the handset. So I can go to, and here I'm using one of MasterCard's PayPass or MasterPass partners, where I can go on, select the good I want, and when I go to pay for it, rather than having to enter all the information on the small keypad, my shipping address, my card information, I can simply touch the MasterPass button on the screen. What MasterPass does is securely connect the consumer to the financial institution they have chosen to use. So whether I'm in Canada and I'm using Bank of Montreal, or Citibank, or HSBC, with MasterPass, I can instantly and digitally connect to the exact same account, the same credentials I would have used with my card, the same account and credentials I might have tapped to buy that cup of coffee, but now can use it to purchase online. I can select whatever card I want. Again, this is a completely open environment. Debit, credit, prepaid, even a Visa card or an American Express card could be used here. And I can select any of the addresses that I want to use. To ease the data entry might be there. But with one tap, I'm back to the Rakuten site. My card information is there. The shipping information is there. In essence, I've done. I've completed that purchase. But that's just beginning. Because I said earlier, this isn't simply about recreating what I could do with the card at the till, or providing a far better online shopping experience using the browser and the small screen that's on the phone. Come with me over to Dublin, say if I'm visiting the MasterCard labs in Dublin. And in that case, the local coffee shop, Ground Coffee, always has a ridiculous queue whenever I go to shop there. So rather than trying to speed through the queue, what I can do is sign in with MasterPass and order ahead. So I can select the cappuccino I want, my vanilla, my extra shot, personalizing my order just for what I want. This could be coffee, it could be sandwich, it could be anything else. Maybe I have a coupon that I've brought into the environment from tapping a poster or downloaded from an online promotion. And with just selecting it right from my phone, I can order ahead precisely what I want and get an e-receipt sent back to my phone. So what have we now done? We've used the digital technology to obliterate the queue and transform things for the merchant. Every option of that complex order doesn't have to happen face-to-face. It can be ordered ahead. It's moved their business model to more like what Dell did to the computing industry. I don't make the coffee, I don't make the sandwich till I already know it's paid for. And for me as a consumer, that transaction experience isn't about going to the queue. It's simply getting the sandwich. It's getting my food before I leave. So we've now used digital connection to, in essence, reinvent that in-store experience that I can have. But let me switch back, because after I had the coffee, and if we go back to the other presentation, what's one of the other things that this digital connectivity has done? As I said, it's transformed every industry. It's transformed payment, it's transformed entertainment, and we've very much seen what it's done to transform media. And let me give you one great example. As I have my ground coffee that I've ordered ahead in Ireland, I always read the Irish Times when I'm there. And knowing me, they can do a great job, for example, targeting the advertising that I would see. But we've all seen the economics of brand and display advertising online. Simply showing the brand, simply having something where I would disappear into a traditional e-commerce site doesn't provide the experience that I as a consumer or merchant have been looking for. And media outlets are desperate to find better ways to merchandise. And merchants are looking for better ways to expand and new ways to extend that point of interaction. So what I can now do in this environment is, instead when I see the banner ad, I can touch it, and I'm immediately brought into a commerce environment. I can select the good I want, this specific leather bag, and tap, and again, using the same MasterPass credentials that I used to order ahead in that store to get my coffee, I can simply touch on the screen, swipe to pay, and I've purchased that good. So what we've done here, in many ways, is truly revolutionary. We've changed digital advertising, in essence, into direct response, holy grail for merchants, and created a brand new shopping context, a brand new experience. But I'm using MasterPass to tie it all back to that account that I have, that account that's exactly right for me. So again, these are huge examples of how we can use the digital convergence to transform the shopping experience, to not only enable better payments for consumers in the store, but online and now everywhere in between. So if in the future I want to take my PayPass watch to tap to get on the bus, to use the browser on my smartphone to order ahead for the sandwich of the shop that I get to be in the aisle of my favorite large big box retailer and buy the large goods that I want and have it shipped to my house so I don't have to carry it with me. That connectivity is how we can create new shopping experience to serve those consumers we have better. But The digital experience is so much more than this transformation of shopping and selling. And up till now, most of what I've been talking about is how we can support and advance those already included in the financial mainstream. But as we all know, that's only one small part, and I think a far less inspiring part of this story. Convergence is also about enabling something more. About half of the world's population, some 2.5 billion people, currently do not have access to formal financial services. Those basics that most of us take for granted. Add to that lack of access to formal financial services is the fact that still, today, as my daughter likes to say, over 85% of financial transactions are still in cash or checks. And that includes 85% right here in the Gulf. And if you look at that, a tremendous opportunity emerges. It is the opportunity to empower individuals to take control of their financial lives, to help governments, to help other agencies deliver the support to those individuals that they deserve, to give them greater freedom of choice, and to bring the benefit of electronic payments to the merchants who sell to them. And ultimately, and I believe truly boost the economic multiplier in the communities where those individuals work and live. At MasterCard, we're helping open up a world of financial inclusion to millions of people. And our efforts with our partners, for example, have been recognized for the last 3 years in a row at the GSMA's award for Best Mobile Money Programs. I think you may have seen, we have just announced last week MasterCard payment support for the Nigerian Identity Card program, now with the power to transform the lives of tens of millions. So to highlight the power of how we can use technology, how we can use biometrics, cards, connectivity, and social programs to lift consumers, let me just take one moment to detail 2 other initiatives we're leading in this region to promote financial inclusion. And let's start in Egypt. In Egypt today, 65% of the population is unbanked. And working with that country's Minister of Finance and the central bank, we're looking for ways to promote that inclusion by reducing their reliance on cash and expanding safer electronic payments. The solution we came up with was a payroll card for state employees and prepaid cards for individuals receiving pension benefits. The benefits were immediate and tangible. Greater transparency for the economic flows, and peace of mind for the individuals knowing that the payments were guaranteed and on time and available to them anytime. This is currently the largest public sector payroll program in the Middle East, and we've issued more than 1 million of these cards with the potential to reach 10 million people. But please think about that account on a more human level. The person receiving his pay or pension on either one of those cards is getting a new level of freedom he's never had before. This benefits him, it benefits the merchants he buys from, and it benefits the community he lives in. That's powerful. And by the way, one more element to note, during Egypt's recent political unrest, the only public sector employees who received their pay on time were those who are using this electronic program. That alone speaks volume. And briefly, one more example. We're in South Africa. We helped the South African Social Security Agency with very specific needs, dispersing benefits to over 21 million recipients in a solution that needed to be secure, to include biometric identification to reduce fraud, and to allow the users to transact even in remote areas. The solution is truly inspiring. The program we developed uses EMV technology, has security features like positive biometric fingerprint to load funds, which you'll see in a second, and prevent fraud. It also includes offline identification and pure cash back at merchants across rural areas. 2 elements to remember, though. The solution has resulted in operational savings to the government projected to be more than $375 million over the next 5 years. And not to mention the millions more saved combating identity theft and fraud, and the assurance that the funds are going directly to those who deserve them. But again, those are just numbers. Think of it on a different level. What does this mean to the person who was never included in the financial system to begin with? It means that he or she now has new freedoms they never had before to take control of their financial lives and participate for the first time in a world where digitization, where connectivity, where convergence is bringing them on board, not leaving them behind. So let me end with a quick look at what it means for those individuals. So hopefully we'll get a chance to see that in a bit. It is truly inspiring. But let me end where I started. Whether it's someone here in Dubai shopping for luxury goods on our iPhone, or someone in South Africa getting Social Security benefits for the first time, our goal remains the same. How do we use all the technology and capability to drive value for that consumer? That's the right account with better shopping experiences, ever stronger security, and all connected through the world's fastest payment network. This is a future that's not about devices or transactions or social media or hardware elements or connectivity. For us, it's about how we can make things better for consumers today, to help them experience this new digital world, and to reach those consumers we could never serve before, bringing a little bit of priceless to people's lives. To us, that's this digital promise truly fulfilled. Thank you, and I believe we'll have time for questions later.